Hi, my name is Israel Vasquitelli. Welcome to the Turntable, a roundtable discussion featuring entertainment and music business students, grads, artists, and anyone with a vested interest in the music business. And today we have an amazing performer. His name is Mav, and we have little Mav in the house as well. And we're going to talk about branding. And I would imagine, Mav, since you have your son with you today, that he is part of your brand. Being a dad is part of your brand. Talk about that a little bit.
This has been the best part of my brand, is because throughout my time growing up and just understanding the history of music, I never really saw like some of the artists that I loved and appreciated like be a father or even show that they were a father. It was like that side of the industry was hidden, you know what I'm saying? And I never saw anything. So being that I'm an artist now and I want to display that. I want to show that it's so you can still be a artist and be a father and still do all these things that you love to do. And it just so happens that I'm doing it with my son now.
There you go.
Which makes it even better.
Awesome. And I would imagine that a big part of clearly being a father, being one myself, is being a role model. And it's kind of interesting because when you speak to so many artists, that's something that they typically disconnect themselves from, the role model perspective. Talk to me a little bit about that.
The beauty in all of this now, Israel, is that I've watched my son take my phone and pull up my videos and sit back and say, that's my dad. Like, whenever he hears my music and he can see it visually, he's like, that's my dad. And a fan of mine said something to me the other day when I had a show at the Henao Contemporary Arts Center. He said, you know, it's dope that you bring your son with you everywhere you go and he gets to see what you do for a living, because now no one else can tell him who his father is. He sees it. He's with you. He's with me here. He's doing shows with me. He performs with me, and he's like the perfect hype man. Like, it's cheating. I know it's cheating. Like all my fellow artists out there, I'm sorry. I don't mean.
You need an edge. You need an edge.
But yeah. Like it's definitely a beautiful feeling, man, because he just brings a lot of life and excitement to the stage. Because people who get to know him and they know his story, they're just amazed. So
awesome. So we have a round table full of folks that not only have their own brands, but also have worked and work either as artists or work with artists. And I'd love to get all of your insights into branding and how you approach your brand. So whoever wants to jump in, talk to me about how you approach your brand. What's your approach in establishing your brand? Who wants to go first?
I could start off.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, authenticity. I wanted people to be able to look at my brand, and when they meet me in person, they can say, you know what, everything that he says he is, he is. And that's one of the biggest keys for me, just authenticity and being genuine. You know, just having a genuine brand that people can sit back and be like, yo, you know what, this is real. I feel like throughout the years and the history of music, we had a lot of celebrities who were so much of a star that it's like you really couldn't connect with them in real life. And I think now it's changing to a point where people want to connect with real people. They want to be like, you know what, if he can do it, I can do it. And I think that's one of the motivation, or one of the keys that I have with my brand, is I want people to look at my brand and say, hey, if he can do it, I can do it too.
That's
Indeed.
That's
Awesome.
that he touched on authenticity. My main thing when it comes to my brand, it's establishing genuine connections with individuals and networking. And so with that being said, you see a lot of phony, fake people out there, people who are in the business just for the money, and they really don't care about the individual, their hopes, their goals, their dreams. And I wanted to be a part of the change. Like, I've worked in the industry, you know, I've worked for iHeart, I worked for Beasley Broadcasting, Cox Media Group. And not to say with it, like the companies with themselves, but the individuals working within the company, you see that, hey, it lacks, you know, genuine, you know, character. So I have to agree.
Indeed. So for you, you would say that a big part of it is, I think what a lot of people kind of neglect in a digital age, that face-to-face human interaction.
So necessary. And it does break my heart because people classify me in the millennial stage, but I was brought up with old school folks. And I still believe in shaking hands and eye contact. I do not do well with individuals who do not give me that eye contact because I do believe the eyes are a gateway to your soul. And I'm really going to be able to tell who you are by looking into your eyes.
There you go.
So it's necessary to network. And it's not just going to happen over social media. People want to get to know you. So I agree, definitely.
And kind of
Yeah.
to piggyback off of that, you mentioned your brand, and I feel like people kind of only classify that digitally. I feel like you said, it is those shaking hands and things like that. And when you meet someone in person, it needs to align with where you are digitally, because there's been a lot of the time where people have like a strong digital brand, and I meet them in person, and it's a whole different person, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you operating your account? Are you
Right.
sure? And it shouldn't feel like that at all. So I really feel like that shaking hands and matching who you are in person is really important
Hit the
too.
nail on the head on
And,
that one.
and you deal with a lot of artists. You're an artist manager, and some of your professional endeavors. You work with artists in various capacities. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you found with artists, maybe that are maybe best practices.
It's really important to figure out what your artist wants, but also what your audience wants, because sometimes those are two completely different things, and you need to find a happy median. And then I work with a lot of newer artists, so it's a lot of experimentation too. So you have to be willing to change and kind of make educated guesses. So that's really important too. What else? It's just artists. They're artists and they're sensitive about their stuff. So
Okay, Erykah Badu.
right,
Got that
True.
they are. So again, it also comes with the relationship. So you have to build a relationship with the artist where they trust you to kind of make those changes and know that it is going to benefit them in the end, even if it might be a little bit uncomfortable at first. So.
And that they trust their feedback too,
Yeah.
because I've been doing artist management too, and like you said, it's about them finding themselves. So they need to know who they are first as an artist and who they want to market to.
Yep.
So we meet these artists and they just do the music that they hear over these mainstream radios, but they still don't know what kind of artist they want to be or who they market to. Because like I told the artist today, I don't want to send him out if he does reggae. I don't want to send him out to a trap crowd and put him in front of them, because that's not his lane. That's not his target audience. So
And like you said, some artists, they have to understand like what they're trying to do. Like me, I've came to the conclusion that I don't like. I think I was telling you guys the other day, like I'm not for the Rolling Loud
Right.
and stuff like that. Like I don't want mass crowds. I need people to I want people to come to me or come to my shows and experience something. And the only way I can make you experience something is if we're in an intimate setting. So I don't know if you guys know about Snarky Puppy, but if you see how their performances are in their studios, like I'm pretty sure those tickets are probably $75 a piece, and people are just coming in there to hear them play.
Yeah.
And it's intimate, it's beautiful, it's touching, because people feel like, yo, this is our experience. And the only way you can get that is if you decide to pay for that ticket and come there. So artists definitely have to know like what they want and who they are and what they're trying to do.
Indeed. And certainly that's a big component, kind of going back to what you were stressing, that live experience. So as an artist, giving folks something that is distinctive, giving folks something that's memorable is a big deal. I love to learn maybe if you folks could share a little bit about effective tools that you found, whether it be in the physical space and the digital space, that you found to be effective either in your own branding world or maybe somebody that you've worked with.
Twitter.
Okay,
I love Twitter.
talk to me about that, because Twitter, there's a lot of noise on Twitter. So tell me, how do you break through the noise?
Man, okay, so, I dropped a project called the J. Dilla Ninth Wonder Experience, and that kind of made some headway for me, and it brought me a lot of followers. I got my first paid show at Shenandoah University in Northern Virginia, And it all happened because of Twitter. I saw this beautiful female. I was like, let me say something to her. I wanted to see if she'll check out my music. She checked out my music. We became friends. And then next thing I know, she calls me up and says, how would you like to perform at my school? It's like, yeah.
There you go.
Look, mind y'all, I'm so excited. I'm not thinking about money. I'm not thinking about nothing. I'm ready to do everything for free. She hits me back a couple days later and says, so how much you want to get paid?
Come on now.
Like, whoa. I was like, okay. So me being smart, I was like, so who's coming on after me? And it was a chick named Sheila D at the time out of Baltimore. Amazing female artist. And she was like, we're paying her $2,000. I was like, I want $2,000 then.
Right.
She was like, all
The art
right.
of
So she goes
negotiation.
back. She was like, hey, we can't do $2,000, but we can do 15. Cool.
Hey, that's still something.
Right,
Come on
right.
now.
But
That's
Twitter, man, what I tell people is it's a very powerful tool because everything is instant. I literally don't even watch the news no more because I have Twitter. If it's going crazy on Twitter, then it may be some truth to it. That's how I'm viewing it now. So, but I've used it for multiple things. Like I've used it to get discounts on food, discounts on oil changes. Like I just tell people, like, if you can use Twitter, man, use it because it does work, and companies pay attention to it. They definitely do.
And I think a big part of what you kind of described was the fact that it was a direct. You were connecting with
Connected,
somebody
yep.
as opposed to a broad message.
Yep.
It's funny, you were telling me that you saw Little Dirk live at a venue last night. And when I had an opportunity to talk to Dirk, that was one of the things that he mentioned, and we're talking about different worlds, different genres that help him break through and connect directly, with someone that connected him with Def Jam. So it's kind of an interesting use, but there's also a lot of noise that you got to break through. So it is about that personal connection. What else? What other types of tools have you folks found effective?
I love Instagram.
Okay.
I'm an Instagram. I'm not really big on Twitter, but it's a necessary evil.
All right.
So like you go into your experience, but I love Instagram, and I think much of my generation loves Instagram. People in general, because seeing is believing.
Yeah.
Even though we all know like a picture's worth 1,000 words,
Right.
and there's background and everything. But as far as you being authentic and you being genuine, what you're presenting, there. So, for example, A3C.
A3C. What? I was scrolling down my Instagram feed and I said, this looks like Nikwa. And A3C had posted a picture of her speaking at an engagement on their page. So I tagged her and I said, this is you, and you on A3C page.
I didn't even know I was on A3C page, but as you're saying, it's instant. But look, I'm like, what? How is it possible? I'm all the way in ATL. I'm just excited. I'm talking to Shaka Zulu. This is great. I'm here for the moment in this moment. But the fact that she was able to experience that moment,
Right.
From all the way in Florida,
Right.
I love Instagram for that reason.
Yeah, Instagram, it tells us a story of everybody, though. Even like you said, the pictures might not be true, but it still tells us a story. It tells us of that person without medium, that person's personality, what they do, the lane that they're going in, where they came from. So with me, I like Snapchat, but I also like Instagram. So Snapchat because I meet so many people from all over. And they add me, and I get to talking, and they get to talking back to me. So it's like we connect from afar, not even knowing each other, but, we connecting with our stories and, influencing people on there. A lot of influencers are on Snapchat as well because, like I said, a lot of people, they posted 24-hour videos, but it's their life. You seeing what's going on behind closed doors, so.
Yeah, I agree with that. To kind of piggyback off of that, I don't necessarily have I obviously use tools, but I think a really misused tool is all of those social media platforms because people just get on and post and bounce. Like, you can't do that. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose is to build a community. People want to connect with each other. So when you're posting, you need to be replying to those comments.
Yep.
You need to be replying to the DMs. You need to like people's pictures, watch their stories, make them feel like it's not a one-sided relationship.
Right. That.
And I feel, again, to bring it back to the physical versus digital, a lot of people forget that it's still communication. It still there needs to be a reciprocated effort. So.
You know what's crazy is I've learned that even with everything being such, in a digital realm now, it works, but it's not as effective as guerrilla marketing anymore. Like guerrilla marketing
Facts.
is to the people who know, they know that guerrilla marketing is the wave right now. Because everybody is on social media, but nobody's in the streets.
Right.
Hello.
Nobody's going up doing hand to hands. Nobody's doing that anymore. So like even as an artist, like I'm learning that now because I had got caught up in that whole wave of everything's digital, everything's digital.
Yeah.
And now with 2019, I'm already figuring out how I want to move, in the streets and where I need to go and what I need to do, places that I need to go to. So it's a lot of this stuff changes. It's almost like to the point where everything that history repeats itself.
Right.
So everything that we were doing back in the day,
It's cool
that
now.
it's cool now, or it's the thing to do now because so many other people are here, and it's not enough people here. So if you really want to make strides and do things, you got to go back to the ways of how it started.
Facts.
I'm like going hit because if I felt something in my spirit. Once he's saying and back to you as far as like matching up, I actually turned down working with the artist because I did not like his attitude. He wanted me to assist him in social media, and I said, well, yeah, I could assist you with your social media, but if you're not matching up, if you come off as misogynistic, I'm sorry, I don't sugarcoat anything because at least it's spiritual diabetes, so I have to be real. If you're misogynistic and I'm sitting here promoting, you're like, yeah, Niqua next, she's helping me out with my social media, that's coming back on me.
Right.
So if who you are is not matching up with your social media and what you're trying to portray, people are going to catch up.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
yes, they will.
That's an excellent segue to my next question, and that is mishaps. So many, you kind of gave us a prelude to that. So many mishaps on social media. I think more so than what we should do right. When it comes to branding, a lot of people doing the wrong things. In regard to engagement, everyone knows you should engage. My biggest pet peeve is when someone posts something maybe on a picture that I post, and it's totally irrelevant to what I just posted.
Yes.
Like, I'm not an artist, so like, hey, nice skills, let's collab. And I'm like, hold up,
Yes.
did I drop some bars? So tell me a little bit about what you feel are some of the biggest mishaps, things that people are doing wrong, and hopefully somebody will take some notes and not do these things that annoy you so much.
Oh man, I think one of the biggest things for me, like on Twitter, people have to understand that when you have a following, you have to be mindful and be careful with what you say. A lot of artists, I've witnessed just a lot of artists that they'll speak on something before knowing the full facts of what's going on.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls. That's like when a lot of things happen, on social media that are, political or any of those things, I wait. Before I say anything, I wait to see how everything is going to play out because a lot of the times the media will do things to make you be on one side, but then when the truth comes out, now you're looking like the fool. Now you gotta go back and be like, well, I was just saying something, blah blah blah, whatever. Versus if you just sit back and wait, be patient. Then when it's time for you to speak on it, then you can speak on it. But other than that, that's probably one of the biggest things that I feel like is a big mishap that a lot of artists do is just speaking before they know everything or know at least enough information about whatever they're trying to speak on.
True. So what do you think, Tracy?
I think posting what you want to post versus posting what your audience expects is a big mishap, which I have committed myself.
Yeah.
Like, I need a brand manager myself. Like, it's so much easier to manage somebody else's
Right, than
brand
yourself.
than yourself.
Right.
So I feel like it's important for artists to get, even if it's not your mom, don't contribute.
No.
But even if it's like a classmate, whoever, like a coworker, random person, like to evaluate your social media and give you honest feedback, because that's so important. Like I said, you can't post what you want to post. You have to post what your audience expects from you. So you need to think about why your audience is following you. And I feel like people don't do that a lot. So one day you can't post like a picture of your cat and then 3 days post pictures of food, and then talk about your music, and then you're working out. Like it's too much. I know too
Right.
much about you. That's not what
Right.
I came here for. You know.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Unless you're, one of these mega stars where people just want to know every last
Everything
detail.
about
Yeah.
you.
Right.
For most people, we don't need to know when you're getting your bagel or whatever.
I've
it is
created a
in the
whole
morning.
separate page just for
Yeah,
that.
and that's why I tell artists too. If you're gonna do that, just have a separate page.
Yep.
Have your artist page and then have your personal page because we want to see your audience page, but of course you want to post stuff on your personal page. You want to, connect with people that's going through the same lane or from the same city as you are. So you want that, but you also have to promote your brand.
Right.
And if it's being an artist, you can't just have any old thing as one picture and then the next day you have your music
Yep.
because they're still thinking about what you posted 2 days ago.
Right.
I
So-
feel like
But-
I feel like I'm sorry, because I feel like we all should find out who is Freddie Gibbs' content manager. Whoever does his stuff. Like seriously, I don't know if y'all paid attention to Freddie Gibbs' page, but literally, if you're sad, like whatever mood you're in, just go to Freddie Gibbs' page, and you will be.
Entertaining.
Yes, yes, like every post, every story, everything is just A1.
To add on to that,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
That also doesn't mean to like spam people either. So do include interest and things like that, but it needs to be a focused interest. People, like I said, they need to know what to expect when they come to your page. So I just wanted to, follow the 80-20 rule, 80% content, 20% promotion. And you're good.
Yeah, I was just gonna go on to say, I don't know, I'm the individual who speaks up on stuff that people are afraid to talk of. We're gonna talk about these DMs.
The golden rule doesn't seem to apply with DMs. I don't know why.
It goes down in the
Everything goes down in the DMs, and it's crazy because is an artist. He's trying to do work, but you can't sit here and try to like holler at the individual you're trying to do business with. I do not mix business with pleasure. We just don't do that. So it was like you just missed out on an opportunity to work with me, and not only me, but all my connections that I do have. So if somebody comes along and they're like, hey, so you want to work, with this individual, they come up, I'm going to give my honest opinions. No, actually, because, he was in my DMs and he looked at me like I was a piece of meat instead of an actual businesswoman, and that
Right.
doesn't fly with me. So that is definitely like one of the biggest mishaps that I see that goes on in the use of like social media.
Yeah.
I think that's hard for women. I'm sorry. I want to kind of touch on that because especially just not to be vain, but like women who take pride in how they look and like upkeep themselves in the industry, it's like even at the show, like some of the security assumed like I was just a groupie, and I'm
Come
like,
on.
get out of here! Like,
Oh, no.
if I did not like have to be here, I wouldn't be here, So, I mean, I obviously love what I do, but you know what I mean. Like, this is work. This is not like,
play.
Yeah.
I'm not here to get a picture. I'm not here for none of. I'm not carrying myself
Right.
that way. Why are you treating me that way? With the DMs, you see what's on my Instagram profile. Does it look like we should be having this type of conversation and then adding business on top of that? So I completely feel you on that, and I feel like it's hard for women. That is something that people don't discuss a lot. Like they'll just say it's a man's playground. Yeah, it is, but men like women in the industry. They definitely do, but not in the capacity that women want it to be. So.
And talk about a contentious topic, DM. So on the professionalism side, and that obviously lacks professionalism if you're reaching out to people
Through DM.
and with lack of disrespect, with lack of respect. But I will tell you from a professional standpoint, also know who you're reaching out to. Because you have folks that will reach out to you either, one, for something that is totally irrelevant to whatever it is that, you display as your brand, or two, offering themselves up on an artistic level. I mean, I'm from the music world and the journalism world as the greatest thing since sliced
Yes.
bread, and
Come on
you
now.
haven't spoken to someone like me
sip
before,
to
and
that
I'm
one.
doing you a favor by letting you. And I'm like, hold up a minute. If
Right.
you looked a little bit into what I've done, you maybe realize that I've sat down with the biggest icons in the industry,
Right.
not to try to toot my own horn, but learn about
Put in
people
work.
before
Right.
you reach
Put in your
out
work.
to them.
Right.
You know, and maybe you'll come with a little bit more of a humble pie, and maybe somebody will respond to you. Enough from me. Tell me, everyone here, tell me, or give us a takeaway. So before we wrap up, I'd love for you to maybe impart some words of wisdom that somebody could hopefully take and improve their brand, whether it be in the physical space or in the digital space. What do you folks got?
Believe in yourself. I know that sounds cliche, but if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. No one else will believe in what you're capable of doing. And the only reason why I say that is because I come from a background of having family who've never supported me, never helped me do anything. Like, till this day, none of my family supports any of the things that I do. But the strides that I've been making because I love what I do, and I believe in myself, and I know that I have the talent and the gift to open doors for not only myself, but my family and my friends. That's one of the greatest things that I can tell any up-and-coming artist, anybody who wants to do anything. I don't care if you want to be a sculptor, a painter, whatever. Just believe in yourself to the fullest extent. And eventually, when you show that, some people may take it as arrogance or whatever. If you're confident, and your confidence will speak for itself, and it will come from you believing in yourself and knowing that you can do whatever you set your mind to. So that's my little piece.
Great takeaway. What do we got?
I'm definitely going to hit on what your test that you're going through right now. You're going through your test in order to have your testimony. So everything that you've been through, and I'm going to throw out examples because there's a lot of people who won't tell you about their struggle and everything that they've been through, but there's actually that helps another individual get through what they're going through. I've been homeless. I've been in an abusive engagement, physically, verbally. My biological family disowned me because I wanted to pursue higher education and go after my dreams. I attempted suicide in 2014 because I was in an abusive relationship, and all glory be to God from taking me from that situation. But it goes to show that if you don't give up, it gets better. So you just keep fighting no matter what you're going through. Just continue to fight and live for your dreams and just don't give up. And there's a God that loves you, whether you believe it or not. There's a God that loves you and has a purpose and a mission for you. You just stay the course, and it's all going to work out.
Awesome.
I would say authenticity is key because the person that you are will attract those who you want to work with. You know, we all say those who you hang around is who you will become or who you are. So you want to put yourself with people that inspire you, that motivate you to go, you know, be the person that you want to be, but also support you in your brand, not just being friends, but they actually supporters. They actually are supporting your brand. They're retweeting or they're reposting anything about your brand. So just be authentic and have those around you that actually care and support your brand.
Awesome.
Mine is to just get started. A lot of people, this is my biggest struggle, and I'm finally starting to figure it out. Just Nike, just do it. A lot of the industry is smoke and mirrors. Some of the things that you see, they might seem as though they're like these extravagant events or times in people's lives, and they're not. It's just how it's portrayed. It's all about your perception. So like I said, just do it because you'll surprise yourself with what you can do when you just do the research, put the action into it, stop talking about it, just put the action into it. And like I said, everything here, not here, but in the industry is smoke and mirrors. So it's possible. Like you said, people don't ever talk about their testimony until they make it to the top of the hill. And it's that testimony that's what's going to get somebody else through it. So, yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's doable. So just put the work in.
Well, you know what? Amazing words of wisdom and a lot of inspiration. So I want to thank you all. You folks are amazing. And hopefully, not only did that touch someone, but hopefully it could help them. And right now, we're going to check out Mr. Mav as he does his thing. So stay tuned for that. All right.
Hey.